What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. So I just got a chance to check up on these end of season press conferences, at least from a handful of people. And I had some quick thoughts about Zach Wilson, and I was very, very impressed with this final press conference that we've seen from him. I think it demonstrated a level of maturity, awareness, understanding that I haven't necessarily seen so much at this point during the season. Not to say that some of his answers have sounded scripted, because I think he's been generally honest with us and kind of using his own lingo, but to a certain degree, there has been a little bit of that political kind of jargon that's going to get tossed out there to sweep things under. But this is the first time I would feel like mentally we've seen him turn a corner. There's a lot of quotables that definitely came out of his press conference. I loved the passion that we got in regards to the question he received about the New York Jets bringing in an established veteran quarterback. What is his thoughts, and what does he feel about that kind of situation? And he tells the reporter, I'm going to give him hell every single day of practice, and not in a negative way. It's just, the nature of the beast in the NFL. Competitions should theoretically breed the best out of everybody. So I love that for one. I don't want to see him backing down or him kind of confining himself into this you know I guess beta male, as people like to call it, where he's just holding a clipboard and he's just trying to save face in the NFL. I want him to go out there, feel like he can salvage his career, feel like he can still be the number 2 overall pick in the what 2021 draft, and can still make some things happen heading into his third year. I want him to feel like just because we go out and give the bag to another quarterback doesn't mean that he can't force his coaching staff's hand. One of the other things that I love that he called out in his press conference was that he doesn't want the onus to be 100% on Mike LaFleur. Don't call it crappy coaching and all of these excuses that are in there. He even brought up his own injury as something he doesn't want to be part of the narrative for why he played so poorly. Um, but that he wished he played better for Mike LaFleur, and there's been a lot of this going on lately with bashing Mike LaFleur and him being trash, and we got to let him go, and he screwed up Zach Wilson and all these other things. And I'm not arguing that that's not true, but I think there's something to say that we've seen multiple players now. And speaking of which, Breece Hall, I know he didn't have to go through, personally playing on the field, these negative trials and tribulations that the rest of the, coaching staff and players did. But there's still something to say that Breece Hall was one of the most vocal guys that said he, doesn't want to see Mike LaFleur go. He's putting us in the right positions. And obviously there's a lot of other things that Joe Douglas has gotten into that I'll save for another video, for what contributed to our downfall in the second half of the season. So I love that. I love that. It tells me that Mike LaFleur isn't the sole issue. There's a lot going on. Again, I think the easiest thing that can occur is definitely going to be able to get some seniority in that coaching room to really help, whether that's more one-on-one personal attention, whether it's just they have a better way of handling teaching the scheme and things they want to do. There's some interesting names that have been coming about more recently. Again, that'll be for another video as well. But I love the onus. Again, I think the most critical part for me that stood out was there was a level of awareness there for Zach Wilson. The biggest underrated takeaway that I would say from his press conference that probably won't get talked about a lot is he even essentially admitted that being the number 2 overall pick in the draft, there may have been some kind of subconscious thought that entitled him to playing time, him being a starter in the NFL and being able to go out there and prove himself. Whereas now, as he's kind of reflecting back on things, he's understanding it's about going out there, putting your best foot forward every day. It's about proving not only to yourself, but to the team, to the coaching staff, your peers, that you got what it takes to actually go out there. And that's a daily ritual that needs to occur. It's not just, I've done such and such up until this point, so, I have the year to essentially, lose or continue to win my role. You need to go out there and prove it every single day. And so, with the combination of him saying, yes, there's going to be some relaxation and stuff, as Robert Saleh mentioned, that's going to be critical, but he wants to go out there the first chance he gets and start working on getting some things right. And we beat it to death. We know the fundamentals are essentially falling apart. I'm going to assume his footwork and the mental part of really understanding these defenses pre-snap is going to be some huge concerns for him. Uh, but this might be the first time I have legit faith in. I have my quarterbacks out there that I would love for us to bring in for competition. This is the first true offseason, and it's strictly based on his press conference. I know it's a lot to base off of some words, but it's the first time I'm extremely confident in what Zach Wilson may be able to achieve while he's away and come back and produce that on the field. Um, and yeah, I can't tell you guys there's any kind of secret sauce or anything, that I've heard report wise or anything else. But there's also going to be a lot to say that he's going to be going against a championship defense again next year. He's going to be getting valid practice opportunity and snaps and stuff, and he should technically be ahead of the curve from being a third year in the system if we can get Mike LaFleur to stay in the building. So I say all that to say I'm really high on Zach Wilson at the moment, just from what visualizing his preparation is going to look like, him being on top of things. I don't think, and this is coming from me. I put out a video a few weeks ago or so about relating him to, and the name's escaping me again, but it wasn't Chad Pennington. It definitely wasn't that. Christian Hackenberg, in terms of what I've seen from his ability to throw the ball confidently and do what the offense requires. I really feel like he can rewrite the books for himself. And even if he isn't starting this season, I also made the point that, next season, I also made the point that's not the end of the world. We still can keep him on the books for 2 additional years between the final year of his contract and then extending the 5th year, injury guarantee. I'm as confident as I've been, and this is including the draft. You guys know I wanted Trey Lance. So either way, I'm not going to make this much longer than necessary. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are if you watched the press conference. If you haven't, just in general, what are kind of your final thoughts about Zach Wilson heading into this offseason? Is he a wash? You don't really want to hear any other news about him. You don't care about the development. Or would you like him, or would you like to see that he's come back essentially transformed? He's, causing hell, as he mentioned, for whoever veteran quarterback we bring in. And he makes it a tough call for him being a starter or him holding a clipboard. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you again. Peace.